So they helped me develop a better understanding of how to communicate with people and how to network with people. And these are skills that you pretty much need to further your career in anything, really. So I very much appreciate that. And I feel like a lot of people don't get this opportunity that Juxta gives you. Juxta gives you this for free. And a lot of people don't really think about that because we get all this great stuff for free and we produce all this great work. And a lot of places you can't get that, like I said, for free. And so I really appreciate what Juxta's done for me. And as a person, and I feel like I have gained a lot of relationships through Juxta. I've made great friends. And not only that, but the instructors and the teachers, they will not only be here for me when I'm done with Juxta. When I'm in Juxta, they'll be here for me. But when I'm done with Juxta, they'll still be here for me. And I know that. So that's great to form that connection and to get to know people around here. So thank you.
That's going to be a little hard, a hard follow-up.
You can do it.
Yes, I can. Well, the Juxta experience, I would agree with Jalea. You get so much for free. And matter of fact, you're getting paid for training, for tools in the future. I mean, really, you're sitting inside of a brain right now. Like, for real, Juxta is a place of thinking. More than anything, Juxta is a continued like machine of thinking, process, build, thinking, process, build. This is all this is, and it's beautiful to be a part of and to see it grow over the years. I've been here for about 4 years now, and I've seen it go through almost every stage, so it's beautiful what's happening here. I've been given so much. I'm 15. I attend Hopkins High School, and I started here in my instructor, Sam, my first instructor in a comic book class. And I was that obnoxious little kid, class clown in there. And then I came back, and I think about 2011, and I was a part of the first walk class with Nate Young and Caroline King, my instructors and now mentors. I mean, like second parents to me. So this is a beautiful place. I didn't even think of pursuing art. I told myself when I was 5 years old that I could not pursue art. There's no way to make money doing it. At 5, I was like, you don't get money being an artist. My intent was being an architect, but I came here and Nate was, you're going to be an artist. You're going to be an artist. And it encouraged me to believe in myself when truly that is my passion. And I plan on doing just that. So this is a place of empowerment, a place of thinking, a place of change. And I'm blessed and to just be a part of this. I mean, definitely. Thank you.
My name is Christine Miller, and I've typed something up because I'm going to cry. I am a professor and department head at the University of Minnesota's Department of Landscape Architecture. And welcome. Juxta for me is a living, breathing, thriving, beautiful sign of what is possible. I am so happy that we are all here to let some of the love we feel for Juxta well up around us for a moment. Deanna and Roger asked me to tell you a story about just one piece of Juxta's programs, a piece called Remix. Remix is, at its heart, about making the Twin Cities a place where people have fair and just access to opportunities, moving us to equity, and to making the environmental design professions, the ones that shape physical spaces and systems of our cities, more diverse and more equity-focused. Remix began about this time, in 2004, in the building next door, when Satoko Muratake, an intern at Juxta and a graduate of the Landscape Architecture program, and Chris Nelson from the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs brought Deanna and Roger and I together to talk about a one-semester-long partnership around environmental design that would bring high school students and graduate students in the Department of Landscape Architecture together to reimagine West Broadway. West Broadway was slated for redesign and for a new planning process. And that first semester was so successful that Juxta was hired to work on the West Broadway Alive plan. to creatively connect with people to bring more voices to that planning process. And today, the West Broadway Business Area Coalition is helping to implement parts of that plan through an arts facade grant program for businesses. After 9 years of Remix, more than 300 University of Minnesota graduate and undergraduate students and middle and high school students from Juxtaposition Arts have imagined and represented and promoted and implemented art and design-based community building strategies in North Minneapolis. We've seeded ongoing public art projects. We've sent Juxta students off to college. We've changed city policy, and we've watched as a new group of young people have taken their place as Remix leaders. People like Sam Arrow Phillips and people like Carrie Christensen. And Carrie is wrapping up work on a nationally funded pilot initiative called Creative City Making, which embeds artists on teams in the City of Minneapolis Planning Division to collaborate on plans with stakeholders. We are now planning for the next 10 years of our collaboration, and that includes creating supportive pathways for Juxtaposition Art students to college and careers so that they can become the leaders who shape our cities and bring us to equity. Remix alum Adrienne Doyle, who was just named one of the John Biggers Seed Emerging Artists, is helping us develop this new program. Can't hide, Adrienne. I've learned from Deanna and Roger and the teachers and students at Juxta and their staff that leadership is about having vision for the change that you want to see in the world and in yourself, and articulating it and sharing it and bringing your skills and energy to the work. And what is the work? The work is building relationships. It's listening and asking questions about whether or not, or whether and how we're actually making change happen. The work is a lot like love. It's about honesty and time. It's about believing in something and believing in the people that you work with. So here I go. There are no leaders without relationships. And the quality of those relationships dictates the quality of the work over the long haul. And for the world to become a place where everyone can participate and prosper, it's going to be a long haul. But tonight, as you tour these buildings and meet the people who make up Juxta, let yourself be hopeful. Celebrate the growth and beautiful work. Find a place for yourself in it, for your passions and your skills, and be joyful.
My name is Kate Wolford. I'm president at the McKnight Foundation, and I'm thrilled to be here and also delighted to see a lot of other peer funders here to be here for what is really an exciting night. I mean, how cool is this just to be here in this great warmth of the space on a cold evening? I'm going to use notes too because there's some things that I want to make sure we all know about the impact and the import of what Juxta is doing here in the neighborhoods, and I don't want to miss anything. So let me first say why McKnight has been working with Juxta and supporting them to the tune of about $1.2 million over the last 15 years. It's because Juxta is a very well-governed, well-led, visionary, creative, and it delivers on what it promises to the people it works with and to the neighborhood. And so we're really proud of this partnership and really excited to be part of this evening with you. We support Juxta not only through our arts program, which seems kind of logical, right? Because we believe that Minnesota thrives when its artist thrives. And here we're seeing young people really being introduced in that possibility for them. But also through our Region and Communities program, which is all about sustainable, livable, equitable communities. Because what we see is juxtaposition kind of hits that sweet spot that brings it all together and unites people, place, and possibility. And of course, I'm going off my notes after all. Let me go back. So what I want to say is that among Juxta's many strengths is this capacity to meet young artists where they are. And a lot of that is because of how it got started. with Deanna and Roger and Peyton, who themselves set up an entrepreneurial business as teenagers and as artists. And so they know what they're talking about, and they know how to meet people and help them transit in a very safe, empowering, and encouraging way into potential careers, and even if not into careers, into skills that will serve them in whatever possibility they choose to make their life's calling. In addition to Juxta's exhibition gallery and the newly renovated Juxta Co-op next door, and we're all going to get to go see that, Juxta has emerged as a really strong economic development driver here in North Minneapolis, creating jobs for youth and young artists, providing income and asset building support and strategies for artists so that they can really think about this not just for their creativity, but understand what it means to manage all the business aspects. As the lab continues in phased renovations towards a full-fledged urban design center, young artists in paid apprenticeships create graphic designs that are transferred to textiles, t-shirts, jackets, and shoes, and then sold. And then, as we've heard, other artists work on environmental design or public art projects, all nurturing those critical connections that make our community a great place for all our residents. Recognizing Juxta's valuable contributions in the revitalization of West Broadway, and that's been a labor of love and a strong community effort, and we've still got a long ways to go, but this is a strong foundation for that work. And so our Region and Communities program also supported Juxta, the Juxta Lab in particular, because we see again that this is one of the key things that will make this area successful going forward. And when those plans for Juxta Lab are fully realized over the next year or so, it's going to translate into nearly, this is what I needed the notes for to get the numbers, 20,000 square feet of new art-focused facilities, over 75 arts jobs annually, and valuable new cultural amenities for the whole community.
Wow.
I want to say again, Juxta is an exceptional partner for McKnight, but also for so many of you in the community. It bridges networks and disciplines, gives underserved artists access to important resources. Back in 2011, I think it was, the National Center for Responsive Philanthropy, and this has been validated by other studies, found that organizations led by people of color and serving people of color predominantly have great difficulty accessing the funds to go beyond kind of very small scale work to become very strong, impactful organizations working at scale. That's got to change in our community, and part of what we're doing here tonight is changing that with Juxta. And a major part of how that's happening is through a funder that McKnight works with often, a national funder, the Surdna Foundation, who is a great partner for us, and we're thrilled that they've made a key investment in Juxta's expansion and its ability to reach the vision that we all share. So I want to give them a huge shout out, and with that, introduce the president of the Surdna Foundation.
Okay. Thank you. So you're applauding the wrong person, because I think, you know, we're here, Surdna's team is here, we have people from our Strong Local Economies program and staff from our Thriving Cultures program, because like for Kate's McKnight Foundation, what's great about Juxta is it doesn't fit. It's not a neat and easy fit into a sort of the routine work that we do every day. And what's exciting about it is that it does cross over between, for us, the creation of economic opportunity and jobs in communities, and the use of art and culture as an economic engine. And I just want to say, I drove up here in July when I was on some visits with some board members that live in town, and I wasn't sure if I would know where this place was, and I'll tell you, it's like a beacon. You see it immediately, and Deanna and Roger welcomed me, and I could immediately see why this place thrives. It's because leadership matters, we know that. Creative ideas are great, but leadership really matters, and the two of you and your wonderful board members, many of whom I met tonight, are really critical to making these ideas come to life. And Surdna Foundation operates all over the United States. We look for innovation that matters, and I think we see that here, and we're so, I mean, for me personally, it's so exciting to be here with you all tonight. I come in from New York City, it's so exciting to come into such energy. And I came into this room when it was still a bit of a shell, and to see it feel alive and pulsing. And I'm looking forward to seeing the tour later that will be what's happened in the 4 months since I was here in the physical place. But hearing from the students, having you all here shows the support that you guys need, Deanna and Roger, to take that next step. We're happy to be a small part of that. And I really congratulate you on where you are now, but where we see you going.
Thank you for braving the cold and coming out and creating a place with us. I'd like to thank the Juxta team. I'd like to thank our staff. I'd like to thank our young people. And I would most like to thank Caroline Kent, whose vision and hard work brought this space to, you can see what it is. For those who don't know, my name is Roger Cummings. I am the artistic director and one of the co-founders here at Juxta.
And I'm Deanna Cummings. I'm the executive director, the other co-founder of Juxtaposition Arts. I was thinking, I thought of a quote from Rick Lowe as I was walking around the room and talking to so many friends, new friends and old tonight. And Rick Lowe recently said, "It's relatively easy to come to the place. It's much more difficult to come to the people." And the work we do at Juxtaposition Arts day in and day out that we've done for almost 20 years is all about coming to the people and providing space where people can connect with each other, where they can build relationships, where they can build skills, where they can expand their networks. And seeing all of your faces in the room always almost overwhelms me, because I can't believe what has become of something that started out as a program in the Sumner Glenwood Public Housing Projects. Roger and I and our colleague Peyton and 15 kids, a $1,500 grant from the City of Minneapolis Arts Commission, and we were just going to do a summer program because there were no opportunities for kids in North Minneapolis to engage in the arts at a high level. And we knew that many young people learn best when they have the opportunity to do something. And sitting in a classroom, hearing a lecture, taking tests about things that folks tell us are important for us to learn doesn't engage many, many, many kids. Us being an example of those kids that were engaged in that way. So we didn't have a vision of an institution that anchors a important commercial corridor on a major street in North Minneapolis, that employs 100 or so people a year, that trains up 50 or so kids a year, with an operating budget today of $1 million. With the community and the young people that we work with, and the artists and the volunteers and the board members and everybody who's made the work possible, a few years ago we started to ask ourselves, what more can the arts do? How can we tap into the assets of the young people in this community, of the artists in this community, in a way that many other folks aren't able to do? And the Juxta Lab program was born. Juxta Lab is a mentorship-based program where young people work in a small cohort with a professional artist or designer or architect or landscape architect who are paid staff members of Juxtaposition as well. Most of them are emerging artists coming into their own professionally. And they're having the opportunity to design and produce real products and services for real clients. They use those experiences and also the relationships and other opportunities that happen at Juxtaposition Arts as a way to create pathways to higher education, to entrepreneurships, to careers in the arts. And I'm just going to tell you a couple of ways the work is having an impact. 100% of young people who are involved at Juxta consistently for at least 2 years graduate from high school.
Nice.
Some people might feel and some people might feel like that's a low bar. Like, of course kids graduate from high school, except in Minnesota, kids of color actually don't graduate from high school quite often. 100% of the kids at Juxta graduate high school. Since 2010, when we piloted the Juxta Lab model, that first year we employed 20 kids in part-time summer jobs. Last year we employed 50 kids in year-round jobs. And this year we're on track to employ 70 kids in year-round jobs. Since Juxta moved into the Emerson and Broadway building back in 2004, there has been $47 million in investment between Emerson and Fremont along the Broadway corridor. When we moved in, there were vacant buildings to the north, the south, the east, and the west. Today, Urban Homeworks is our neighbor to the north. Across the street on Broadway, Emerge Community Development Corporation has its headquarters. We have a coffee shop, the first one on Broadway. Down the street is KMOJ Radio, the Northside Achievement Zone, the Minneapolis Public School Building. None of this was here when we moved in 2004. The last thing I'll tell you about the potential of Juxta Lab is that when we started in 2009, our earned revenue from client-based work was about $15,000 a year, and last year we earned $167,000 a year.
So as well as this being a celebration, this is the launch of Generative, the capacity development campaign, which is 3 years long, and some of the goals in that capacity development are to become the largest employer of young people in North Minneapolis. So right across the street, a great organization, Cookie Cart, has 150, they employ 150 young people, and our goal is 151. Also, right now, our earned income is about 25% of the budget, and we want to get that to at least 50% by 3 years, and ideally, 80 to 90% after that. The way that we can do that is securing multi-year contracts to make that happen. So those are our 3 goals over this capacity development time. Yeah.
So just in closing, we just want to again acknowledge the Surdna Foundation and the McKnight Foundation.
Absolutely.
They've doubled down on their investment in this work, for lack of a better word. The Surdna Foundation staff uses the term right-sized their investment. They've come to visit us probably 10 times over 2 years. They come often. They're actively involved, and they're not coming to sort of snoop and look under the table and in the closets and do whatever. They're coming because they're really intrigued by the work, and they want to figure out what needs to happen to take it to scale. So they said, we're going to double down. We're going to invest, and we're going to invest fully. We're all in. The McKnight Foundation has invested in our work since the very beginning. They were one of the first funders to ever make a grant to Juxta.
Bravo.
Bravo.